Okay, so I have a question for Dan McQuillan.
All right, let's see it.
Love him. My question for Dan is, do you feel like morality is based in these passages? Do you feel like that is something that you absolutely uphold to this day? Why do I ask that question? I'll tell you. So what if you get the passages explained to you? Do you need human morality explained to you?
Hey, thank you for a wonderful question. Short answer, no, nobody's morality comes from the biblical text. Long answer, still no, but it gets a little more complex. Scholars have been studying morality and its origins for a long time, and for a couple of good, accessible discussions, I would recommend the chapter on morality in Claire White's An Introduction to the Cognitive Science of Religion. And then I would also recommend Jonathan Haidt's book, The Righteous Mind, which is a somewhat idiosyncratic theory of the cognitive origins of morality. And the idea of different dimensions of morality, I don't think, is going to change the consensus or anything like that. But there's still a lot of good discussion about the cognitive foundations of what we think of as morality. But when we look at the data, what we see is that humans seem to be born with kind of an innate, naive sense of morality. And this is evolutionarily installed, and it's based on the need for humanity to get along with the in-group, to cooperate with the social identities that we are born into and that become important to us as we become socialized. And this goes back to the need for cooperation within increasingly large and increasingly complex social groups within dangerous environments. So the reason that humanity was able to become what it is today is because we developed a bunch of different ways to increase cooperation within increasingly large and complex social groups. And so we have an in-group bias, and we have a desire to facilitate cooperation. And this is what we call prosociality. This is maintaining social cohesion as those social groups get larger and more complex. And so that's the foundation for what we think of as morality. But the details of it depend on the specific social identities and interactions of social identities within socio-material ecologies, so our circumstances. So things are always changing, and we have some kind of widespread agreements, but there's always some fuzziness at the boundaries. There's always disagreement between and within groups. And it gets phenomenally complex the deeper we get into the details. But the biblical texts are not the origin of any of this. The biblical texts are reflecting the outcomes of some of these discussions, but then they become authoritative, and so subsequent generations have to then negotiate with these received traditions and decide whether they want to keep them, get rid of them, how they want to integrate them into their ever-changing circumstances and social identities. And so it's amorphous, it's complex, it is messy, and the biblical texts are not the foundation of any of it.